Like, I don't want to ever speak on behalf of all Iranians or like, you know what I mean?
Because when you're
like,
black, they think you speak for all black people.
Like,
Hey beautiful people, it's Success Mentor Dante J. Worth, and I'm back with another video right here on Audition TV! Now, if this is your first time tuning in, I need you to make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure that you like this video. And make sure that you are commenting down below. Because my team and I absolutely love to read your comments. Now tonight, we're being joined by the beautiful, the fabulous, the one, the only. Tell them who you are, darling.
I'm Pirronne Yousefzadeh.
Girl, I done forgot what I asked you to come on here for, so I need your help with the topic. So we invited you on here tonight to talk about...
Belonging?
Belonging, yes! Yes, belonging, yes! So before we talk about that, we're gonna ask you the question we ask every single guest.
Okay.
What is your story?
Ooh, that is a big question.
Yes.
I grew up, I like to say, on the intersection between the Midwest and the Middle East.
Yes.
My parents are both immigrants from Iran.
Oh.
We eventually settled down in Chicago, Illinois.
Wow.
Which was where I mostly grew up.
Come on, Chi-Town. We love Chi-Town. My favorite president's from Chi-Town.
Yeah, and I grew up in, a pretty traditional household in a lot of ways.
Nice.
And my parents, especially my dad, like definitely pushed me. There was a lot of, there was this like combination of like American dream and like the sacrifice.
Yes.
That comes with leaving your country, your culture, your language.
Yes.
And doing so to give hopefully a really good life for your family.
Oh,
so,
that's good.
It's good. Like, it cuts a couple ways, you know what I mean? Which like came back in various ways throughout like my journey and my career, and it continues to evolve, but I'm really I think it's important to have Middle Eastern pride right now.
Yes, come on, Middle Eastern pride. Yes.
There's just so many forces of hate, and there's so much about Iranian culture that I think is so beautiful.
Yes,
so
the rest of the world needs to see as well.
Yeah,
yes.
Because it's not the narrative that we're getting. Anyway, I'm already getting political. We're like
You're
2 minutes.
fine. No, tell your truth, honey. Speak your truth. That's what we're here to do. So when you talk about belonging, like, what does that mean to you?
It's about feeling oneself seen in a community, not being the only one.
Yes.
But also about not trying to erase difference. I don't like when someone's asking me like, "Oh, I don't see color." I'm like, "No, see it.
Yes, see it.
It's here."
I got a little good color right now. I got from New Orleans, girl. I got a little good color right now.
It's really nice, and I want to see it. Like, but it's about like seeing that, but not seeing only that, and not making a value judgment based on that. And so for me, like, I don't think that the utopia is to get to a world where belonging equals the erasure of difference. I think it's about having such a multiplicity of perspectives that navigating difference becomes normal.
Oh, that's good. You got the jewels. That's good. That's good. I think a lot of times with belonging, there's this other spectrum of feeling othered. Have you ever felt othered?
Oh my gosh, all the time. All the time. I mean, growing up, I went to a really I was really fortunate. I had an amazing education, and I was the only one. I was the only Middle Eastern kid. A lot of times, I didn't meet another Iranian in theater until I was in college. I didn't meet more of them until I was in my late 20s.
Wow.
It took time to start to build a community and not feel like the first one,
yeah,
like some
the pioneer.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Because I wasn't. Like I certainly wasn't. And there's so many trailblazers in the American theater.
But you were in your own right, though, in your own lane, that you felt others seen you as that pioneer because you were the representation for them. Do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like, for some people, the first Iranian. I'm sure I've been the first Iranian a lot of people have ever met. And I think like there are people for whom I'm definitely the first Iranian Jew they've ever met. Wow. And you know, and that's cool. Like I am who I am. I'm happy to like better for me to be your first than for you not to have ever met anyone at all. You know what I mean?
That's good.
Like
that's good.
I try to look at it that way, but you know I think the othering, which was, you know, I have a weird name and like, you know, elementary school, like, you know, kids will always be kids. They'll find something, right? So I think like originally a lot of my coping mechanisms centered around, and I'm, you know, I'm not like, I don't enjoy admitting this now, but it's centered around like whitewashing myself and like just sort of trying to
just to get that acceptance,
obscure my difference, and like assimilate, you know. And my parents were as traditional as they are in a lot of ways, like very encouraging of all efforts of assimilation.
As having lived a life now and getting to the positions that you are now in life, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Take up space.
Take up space, yes. All the space.
Take up all the space. And that, like, you can define what your culture means to you without having your culture define you.
That's good. That's really good. I know a lot of times online, especially on social media, if someone leaves a narrative of negativity, the rest of the comments and everything that flows is going to be negativity.
Right.
If they lead a narrative on Israel or Iranians, there's this narrative that's going to follow. What is the narrative that you hope that you could pass on to those who are listening out there?
The narrative about Iranians?
Or just about who you are, how you identify.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like, I don't want to ever speak on behalf of all Iranians or like, you know what I mean?
Because when you're black, they think you speak for all black people.
Like, what do all of you think about Ahmadinejad? And it's like, I don't know what everybody thinks.
Right,
you know what I mean? I mean, I think for me, like what I see to be like some of the many beauties of Iranian culture have to do with hospitality and not like in a sort of like business sense, but like in a true familial sense. A love of art, a love of poetry, a love of music. A sense of I think a kind of appreciation of the beauty in the world. And a deep well of emotion.
And your current position, like your current position right now is at Geva.
It is.
And does it include creating belonging amongst the community?
It does. So I'm the new Associate Artistic Director and Director of Engagement.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm about 2 months in. I just moved to Rochester, which is...
And she's already on Nation's Labor TV, y'all. Look at her!
Already got lost. A few times. And so the engagement department is a new department at Geva. It's starting with my hiring, and there are a lot of theaters across the country that have engagement departments, and so a lot of folks have been paving the way in defining what that means and what that looks like in terms of programming. So it's very different depending on what theater you go to. For some, it's about audience development. For some, it sort of pivots more towards education, and we have an education department, we have a marketing department, we have an amazing team of people, and so now being added to the team, the way I see my role is to deepen our connection to community in ways that both may pertain to the shows that we produce, but also can exist outside of those shows as a public service organization.
Oh, that's good.
Because we sort of have two purposes, I think, as a nonprofit. One thing we do is we produce excellent theater.
Amazing shows.
And people buy tickets and they come see them, and hopefully that experience widens their perspective, increases empathy, entertains. It is important to have a good time in the theater, and I think that it can do all of those like really deep things and also just be a really good time. And also, we live in this incredibly rich, diverse city with so many communities that we can serve in other ways.
Yes.
And so I think like the really tricky thing about engagement is, in that sense, is about decentering ourselves as the expert. Like, we know how to make theater.
Yes.
But we don't know, like, if we walk into a particular community, we don't know what they need.
That's good.
We're not the expert on them. They're the expert on them and on what they need.
Oh, that's a good. Let's say that again for the people in the cheap seats back there, because they didn't hear that back then. The cheap seats.
We're not, we just like can't ever see ourselves as the expert on any community, and can't ever think of any community as being like homogenous. Every community has nuance, has complexity within it. And that like we can offer something else.
Yes.
It might not be a show. It might not be about buying a ticket. Yeah. Like that's but
just representation and feeling like they belong in a place where they can go to Geva and feel like, hey.
Yeah. Like can we help foster certain conversations? Yes. Can we take our skill sets as theater artists and administrators and offer those to support communities and lift communities up in different ways.
That's good.
So it's like the scope of the job is gigantic in a lot of ways because there are also the opportunities for production engagement that have to do with like creating programming and enhancing around a particular show, and that's awesome and valuable.
Yeah, it's very valuable.
And like there's the sort of previous form of engagement that I was talking about is like decenters the institution in a way that is challenging to.
But you can do it, but that's why they hired the right one. They hired the right one for the job.
Cool thing about it is like I don't know how to do it, and
but
so I'm excited
that's
to like.
Sometimes the beauty of it, like not knowing.
Like if you already know. I mean, I don't know. I also think that like I don't know if you feel this way. I feel like feeling like a fraud every once in a while
imposter syndrome kicks in.
It's important to like keep yourself on your toes, to like keep that fire lit under you. Like, if I start to feel like, oh, I have this, I know this, like I actually think there's probably something I'm missing. And more often than not, when I have felt that way, there was something I was missing.
Oh, that's good. What advice would you give someone right now who's watching this? Like, I feel like an imposter because the imposter syndrome kicks in when you think you may not know it all, but you might know a certain skill set, but you may not know the road to go down. So what advice do you have for someone?
I would say the advice I try to give myself is be patient in the right ways and impatient in the right ways. As in, like, be patient with yourself.
Yes.
But move with purpose and urgency. And know that if you're going the wrong way, like I often do when navigating the roads of Rochester, you can just make a turn and write your course, write your path.
That was good. I put my hand up. I was like, that is good. You can write your own course, honey, even if you make a wrong turn. That's
like all we can do. I mean, and this is true in the rehearsal room too, because like I was a director before I started at Geva, and I will be directing at Geva this season.
Well, if you're ever looking for a headliner, though.
Yes. Like in the rehearsal room, all we're doing is trying out hypotheses. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what if in this moment, brilliant actor, you walked from the right side of the stage to the left side of the stage and sat down in that chair. And then like we'll watch it and we'll be like, no, that's bad. That doesn't work. What if you just don't move? What if you like who knows? Like there's so many, I mean these examples are so boring, but like
no,
what if that's what we do? We just like,
you keep trying and trying, right.
And like you know, and there's, I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I said in rehearsal, like, that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Nope.
At least you tried, though.
My bad. Glad we tried it. We learned something, and now we can, you know. And so, like, the process of rehearsal is about, like, trial and error and writing and rewriting. Yes. And I feel like if I can apply that part of my artistry to the engagement side of things, like, we're going to be okay, you know?
Are you ready for rapid fire questions?
Oh, God.
Yes, you are! Just say yes!
Yes! Okay.
Favorite book?
Ooh, Crime and Punishment.
Ooh! Favorite movie?
When Harry Met Sally.
What do you see when you look in the mirror?
Ooh, I see a lot of hope and fear.
Yeah, that's good. That's okay. That is perfectly fine. And who inspires you?
My mentors. I had like some of the most incredible mentors through high school, through college, through grad school. Many of them were women, most of them were women. And my friends and collaborators who, like, I think I learned from their courage. I learned from their bravery as they're sort of speaking truth to power and figuring out how they can, you know, leave the American theater and hopefully the world better for the generation that comes after us.
Yes, leave it better for us. And to be audacious means to be
true to one's convictions and bold in not just talking the talk but walking the walk.
So tell the people how they can follow you online, how they can find you, how they can help you in your engagement and with your job.
Oh gosh, sure. So you can find me online at www.pirronne.com. That's PIRRONNE. GevaTheater.org. And also, if you are a theater artist of Middle Eastern, North African, and or South Asian descent, check out MaiaDirectors.com. That's MAIA, and we're a consulting and advocacy organization for artists of Manasa descent.
Yes.
So get in touch with us, and I think that covers it.
Until next time, remember that life is meant to be enjoyed and not just endured.